to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife. Harry, the ideal target. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You will know by now that narcissists use people. People are simply appliances to the narcissist. They are there to be controlled. They are there to provide fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. These are what are known as the prime aims. This is what the narcissism drives the narcissist to get from each and everybody that they deal with. Sometimes it's simply control, sometimes it's all four aspects. But the narcissist isn't with you because he or she likes you. It's as a consequence of what you can do for the narcissist. It is entirely transactional. There is no object constancy with the narcissist. You are either useful or you are not. And the narcissist's conduct towards you is governed by your usefulness. In order to ensure that the needs of the narcissist are fulfilled, the narcissist has been created to ensure that he or she finds the appropriate victims, targets, that allow the narcissist to cater to the prime aims to the fullest. Every narcissist has what is known as a fuel matrix, which is made up of different levels of victim, tertiary sources, secondary sources, and a primary source. More information about this can be found in my excellent book, Fuel, which is available on Amazon or in the Knowledge Vault, link in the video description. The fuel matrix can change in terms of constitution. Certain aspects of those hierarchies might be absent. It is invariably the case that most narcissists, and especially those of the lesser or mid-range categorization, require an intimate partner primary source, because that means that the narcissist, essentially a creature of either efficiency or you might describe it as laziness, is able to cater to the prime aims by focusing on just one person. And this is what the narcissism of this one's wife has done repeatedly throughout her life. When she was a young girl, she had a non-intimate partner primary source, which was her father. He was easy to control because he doted on her. He was the main provider of fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. And then when she reached the age of majority, she still utilized him, but then moved on to intimate partner primary sources with a string of relationships. The first marriage, which has yet to be confirmed officially by her and probably never will, her marriage to Trevor Engelson, her relationship with Corey Vitiello, other boyfriends, and then ultimately Prince Harry. Harry was targeted because her narcissism saw an opportunity. Essentially, Corey Vitiello was in the sustained devaluation, which means that he was painted black because he was no longer seen as delivering in the way that he ought to do so. That frees up the narcissist to then seek a potential replacement. This doesn't always happen. Sometimes the narcissist just engages in a string of affairs and never gets rid of the intimate partner primary source who never escapes. But in other instances, the narcissism is looking for an alternative, someone shinier, more interesting, wealthier, more fun, more prominent, all different factors which ultimately cater to this. They are better at the provision of the prime aims. And when it came to Harry, this one's wife, as we know, was searching for a British boyfriend. She basically put out her feelers seeking such an individual. And her narcissism hit the mother lode. It got the jackpot. Now, it wasn't the case that she set out purposely to get hold of Prince Harry. She was looking for someone that was an improvement on Corey Vitiello, part of what many people would describe as her social climbing, but what you will understand as basically her narcissistic dynamic. Why did Harry, when he came into her crosshairs, prove such an attractive prospect? Well, naturally, it's all to do with how he catered to the prime aims. The first element is that of control. Harry is used to being told what to do. He has always operated within the guardrails of the palace. Go there, put your pants on that way round, say this, shake that hand, etc. And he's been relatively content to go along with that. Therefore, he has, to some extent, been conditioned to receive orders, which is precisely what the narcissist provides to the victim. Thus, he had a pre-existing susceptibility to being told what to do, but also rather liked being told what to do because it made life easy. And therefore, when this one's wife comes along as a controlling narcissist who will tell him what to do, then it feels natural to him. He also had experienced childhood trauma with the death of his mother, which meant that there were various unresolved issues which she could then capitalize upon by way of false compassion, claiming that she cared about what had happened to him. She also exploited this by positioning herself as a substitute mother figure for Harry, by causing herself to appear like Diana, therefore exploiting his vulnerability in this regard, by continuing to provide the role of a mother that he had lost. We know, for instance, that she wore the similar perfume to that as worn by Diana, Princess of Wales. She often talks about channeling her spirit, and Lord knows what else she has said to Harry privately with regard to the Diana duplication. This, again, provides Harry with a sense of familiarity in relation to something that he had lost. He's envious, which is a narcissistic trait of his brother. William was always going to be king. William was the individual that had married Kate, and undoubtedly Harry had something of a crush on Kate. He wanted the life that William had. He wanted the same number of sausages that William had. And therefore that envy was something that could be exploited by this one's wife, with the whispers of, "You are better than William. We'll be better than William and Kate." And that fed in to his narcissistic trait of envy, whereby for once he was going to be the one that was top dog, that he would be the prominent individual, and therefore that felt good to him to finally get one over on his brother. She harnessed his resentment at the fact that other members of the royal family were treated in a more approving manner than he was. After all, he was simply the spare. And this fostered a resentment in him, something that this one's wife could cultivate in terms of, "I believe in you, Harry, I'm on your side," which made him feel special, something that he had been craving for some time. And furthermore, to then isolate Harry by telling him, "They don't treat you the way you deserve to be treated, Harry. They don't afford you the respect that you should receive. They're all focused on William. They're not fair in respect of you." Harry, as a little randy ginger, was also susceptible to the sexual offering by the somatic narcissist that is this one's wife. I've explained many times how somatic and elite narcissists will utilize sex for the purposes of getting to the prime aims. And this one's wife is no stranger in that regard. As a purported former yacht girl and prostitute, well versed in the smoking of the pipe, of the pink variety, that she was well acquainted with the pounding of the punani pavement, playing hide the sausage, and had basically been hammered more times than a joiner's thumb. Accordingly, her extensive sexual experience meant that she was willing to offer lots of spicy poontang to Harry, and also, as a consequence of her lack of boundary recognition and the driver for the pursuit of control and fuel, was, in the words of Harry, essentially up for anything. She'll let you do anything. He is governed by emotional thinking, which meant that he didn't see the red flags, or where he did, he paid no attention to them. Even when his brother was waving one in his face by saying, "You need to slow down," he didn't listen. He's of low cognitive function. High cognitive function isn't a defense to when a narcissist has come along. I've advised plenty of very clever people who've been ensnared by a narcissist, but it certainly is going to weigh against you all the more where you're of a lower cognitive function. Harry was easy to mirror. He would undoubtedly spill about all the things that he liked to do, and despite her claims that she didn't know anything about the royal family, there was plenty of information about Harry on the internet, in the press, etc., that she, as a narcissist, could utilize to mirror him, for example, claiming to love going to Africa in the way that he did. Thus, Harry was so easy for her to control. The next aspect would be that of the provision of fuel. Harry is an emotional individual. He is expressive. He has a temper, the narcissistic trait of anger. He's easily provoked. He has empathic responses because he does have emotional empathy in respect of compassion and caring. And all of this makes a bundle whereby he fountains with emotion, meaning that he provides lots of delicious fuel. Rather than not reacting to the provocations of his wife, be they benign provocations or malign, he responds in a way demonstrating happiness, joy, delight, anger, hatred, misery, pity, a variety of different emotions, all occasioned by her acts and omissions, which provides her with a huge amount of fuel. He has a variety of character traits, primarily born out of the fact that he was a member of the royal family, which means very few people have access to those particular character traits by way of his experience of being a member of the royal family, and he was well-travelled. Accordingly, those aspects proved attractive to the narcissist that is this one's wife. He also came with a host of residual benefits. It gave her access to the royal family, something few people ever would have. She gained a title. She had access to various networks. She had access to support staff. She had access to security. She had access to wealth. She had access to fame. And all of those things provide further advantages with regard to the obtaining of fuel and the assertion of control. Bear in mind as well, compared to what she had had previously, Prince Harry, in terms of being viewed against the matrix of the prime aims, was far superior to the likes of Corey Vitiello, Trevor Engelson, and even her father. He was light years ahead in terms of catering to control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. If her narcissism was a person, it would have done a merry jig in delight when Harry came into the crosshairs. And accordingly, Harry, being so easy to control, fountaining with fuel, laden with character traits and residual benefits, proved to be the ideal target for this one's wife to not only ensnare, but to use to her advantage. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.